Hey, hi, it's Jonathan Roy here. We have our 2016 National Building Cost Manual to approach estimates on residential commercial property. And I want to go over a few things. I want to go over residential costs on the inside and outside. And this added cost that I figured about our landscaping on the outside of our house that may not be figured or included into the cost of these building expenses to help give us a better idea on getting a better feeling about how one might go to approach a painting estimate, one such as myself. Alright, we're going through here. They have an explanation of table costs. And estimates vary on different things. I'll show you our general estimate costs. It'll be kind of at the end. And it'll be kind of our most important figure, because then if there was a little extra money added to that or a little money taken away, we feel secure about it because it come from an accurate calculator to help give our appropriate property appraisals. We have a building quality. If our building is in good condition or if it's in poor condition may affect the cost. Something's falling apart, you might have to do more work than you would if something was in good shape. So that could raise or lower your cost. You have building shapes. Buildings could be four quarters. There's four quarters, or could have six quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 5, 6. And kind of branch in. And they have kind of eight quarter houses where you have a kind of a majestic entryway or something that might be a price variant on an estimate. We have the area of the building. How many square feet is the building? Is there 1,400? Is there 1,700 square feet? Is there 2,500 square feet? This can affect your estimate quite a bit. Now we have our wall heights. If anything is over 8 feet, it can affect the price. I'm sure it wouldn't be too bad when it comes to painting. It might get, if you're doing masonry work, it might end up costing you a little extra. And then they have other adjustments. Say there was something that wasn't common found to a house. There was an extra wall that was made out of stone, or extra things that need to be protected while painting. Say there's fireplace or something in there, that could be a role in affecting the cost too of an estimate. Now, there's also locations. Locations can affect the price of estimate. Say you're in a HOA or a nice housing development, and they're trying to keep the equity of their homes at a certain standard. Your location is just being a good place. You might want to make sure that you're working with good contractors or someone who's going to represent the curb appeal that you're after in those neighborhoods. Sometimes the contractor has to go HOA and figure out the colors that are allowed to be used in the neighborhood, and those little extra things affect the estimate and how much you pay somebody. And even if you're in a rural location, if you have to go further away from your business location, or if you're closer to your business location, it can affect the price. It might cost more to take the extra drive to get some work done for someone. The way things depreciate in value, if your home equity is depreciated in value, may lower the cost of an estimate because it could become unaffordable if something didn't have enough value in the equity of the home to be able to pay a standard, was it price and be the American standard. Your house was 300,000, and yet you pay reside the house 40,000, but your house is 50,000. You pay 40,000 to reside the house. You might not make any money. You go to sell your house or get it appraised. There's different kind of limitations. It's kind of the competence of the estimator. What the estimator is willing to give you. If there is things that you might be able to make a deal with or ease out on so you don't have to think about it so much. There might be something to that, or maybe the contractor, he gives you limitations and you have to meet certain price or he's not going to be there. We also have our area modification factors. The cost is at a 0% cost. So my job in a 0% area, say that was in Omaha, Nebraska, and this would be up here. Omaha, Nebraska is at 0%. And my exterior ends up costing $1,450, This is kind of the normal out there for average exterior. But I come over to Colorado, and let's see, Colorado's up here. We go to Denver. There's a 7% increase. So every $1,000 you spend, you might spend an extra $70 in Colorado. And it's not too big of a deal, but it's something to be included in the estimate calculator. If there was say you're in the area they're negative, you might have to reduce the cost. If it was $1,400 and there's a 10% decrease in your estimate procedure, you might have to lower the job $140, make it a $1,300 job based on your 0% estimate average. So that's something to think about too, how you're helping people. You got to make sure people, they have food on their table. You want to make sure people are getting what they need too, or you have to have a bright new red door, look pretty nice, and come springtime you have your spring welcoming party or something. I was thinking, what was it? Is Boston at a 37% increase from the normal 0% average? And the San Francisco was at 27%. So if you go to Boston, you can almost double your estimates. It's pretty neat. I'm sure it costs quite a bit to live there. Everybody's government, aren't they? Now, we have this building cost. It's a historical index. Back in 1949, building would cost $14.81 a square foot to build. And because of our advancements in building technology, in 2016 we're at $1. But I look at it different too this way. If your house is 1949 and it's in worse condition, you can't look past that. Or even if it wasn't in worse condition, you can't look past the standard of what we're basing our estimates on. And then when we get to 2016, if your house was just built and there was a little dirt on the siding, you painted and the paint was flaking off you, it wouldn't be very hard, something so new, you go clean the little area that's malfunctioned and do a little touch up. You wouldn't have to repaint the whole thing, so it might end up being a lot cheaper having a newer home doing a rebuild or renovation than it would be if you're doing an older home. Now, they were talking about costs. It was kind of important. The cost was there might be different kind of permit, different fees, taxes with the state that you have to pay if you're doing any bigger projects. And you want to include that. Now, there's this residential housing selection or section, and it was kind of important. Our estimate was based on the actual floor plan of the houses, and it was actually there was an actual classification of these houses and how they're standardized, how they're viewed in value in our country here. Now there was 4-quarter homes, 6-quarter homes, 8-quarter homes, 10-quarter homes. There was multiple buildings on the property, and then there was building masses. When we go to the quality classification, there was class 1 through 6, 6 being the lowest and class 1 being the most valuable. Class 1 was building masses. There was multiple tiers of the home. It could be 3 stories, but because it was a multi-entry level, it had split tiers and different things. It was split entryway type floor plans. There could be 6 or 7 floors on one of these building masses, even though it was 3 stories tall. And there was different angles to approach reconstruction, and it would be in the luxury classification. And there's a few houses here in Boulder that are building masses, but there's not enough you have to worry about. I think maybe you get one job every 5 years, and that'd keep our contractors busy the rest of our lives. That's how many luxury houses we have up on the ridge here. And I did a semi-luxury house just the other week. It turned out real nice. It was a fun deal. This is a little further south. What I want to work on is the majority of the houses that I'm repairing and fixing up are 4-quarter. They'd be considered a class 6 minimum standard. Don't get me wrong, even if you're a class 6 house, you're not poor and falling apart. It's just the way they classify your house to be given an estimate. And it's kind of important because you want to save your most dollars you can when you're doing home repair, so don't get too worried. Now when we get over here, we have our square footage residency chart of how much to charge. And this will coincide with our classification of houses. We have our total cost of expenses that go into a home, building new or rebuilding. There's 9% foundation, 12% total cost, floor structure. Wall and framing exterior finish is 14% of the total cost. Roof is 10% of the total cost, excuse me. And it adds up to 100% of the total cost if you put all these in bath, kitchen, plumbing, and our interior wall and ceiling finish is 8% of the total cost. So 22% of the total cost of your home is your exterior and interior finish. This is kind of important. The job that I'm doing, I'm fixing up a good portion of the home when I go to make my repairs with painting. I was thinking your $100,000 is $20,000 of your house values in your painting, your exterior, your interior. you let it go, it just go away. You have appraisal come in, someone appraise your home, it'd be half the value if you just let it go. But if you fix it up, it'd be full value, $20,000, $25,000. It might only cost you under $10,000 to fix. I'd say under 8,000. But this would even look better in the eyes of a person that got $300,000 home. That'd be $60,000 value of their home, in the exterior and interior of their home. They let that go. Their home value decreased $30,000 because they don't paint inside, they don't paint outside. What do? That's a lot of money to be losing just to think, oh, let them take care of that when they move in. When that could be in your pocket. Now, I say that there's 25% total cost in painting refinishes of the home value. It's 3% that we're missing is in the landscaping, the yard itself. It's the fence, deck and fence that goes around the house, the wood. I was thinking if we do have nice $300,000 house, we have a wraparound cedar fence. 3% of your total home value is $10,000, $12,000. That's in your woodwork outside. If you just let this stuff rot and go, you have to replace the whole thing. It costs you $10,000 or $12,000. But if you do a deck and fence restoration and keep it new again without letting it rot, preserving it, you could save a lot of this equity you're trying to put in your home. It sounds expensive when you're doing deck and fence restoration. You're looking at between $900 and $1,200 labor. If you have a plank siding, or it's the siding that goes side by side, this maybe take 15 gallons to do both sides of a wraparound fence on a good sized property. If you have plank siding where it goes every other one on opposite sides of the stud that holds the fence up, it might take 30 gallons of oil to preserve the wood on both sides of this fence that wraps around the yard. And 15 gallons would run maybe about $250, and 30 gallons would run about $500. And it's a good investment, your material and your labor, to protect this extra $10,000, $12,000 investment on your property. So we always want to think about that. Figure that too when you're getting the estimate from your painter. And we get the deck and fence done too. Now, we're going to figure how is John coming up with these numbers. It is accurate. It's made from this calculator here. Now, if we look at this 1,400 square foot at Class 6 house, minimum standard, cheapest price, $73 total expense per square foot building cost or rebuild cost. And there's also a little note down here that says track work and highly repetitive jobs may reduce the cost by 8 to 12%. So if there's nothing inside your house, there's... Okay. We're back online. We're talking about our estimate here. We're back here looking at our total costs. And we wanted to figure out, how does John make this estimate? And we talked about our deck and fence, and we're here looking at our calculator chart here. We're looking at 1,400 square foot in a Class 6 home at $73 total square foot cost of building or rebuilding a home. Now, we wanted to figure out, how does John get the number here? Well, This this is the cost of the house. This is how we calculate it. We have our wall framing exterior finish is 14% total cost rebuild. Then we have our note here that says track work and highly repetitive jobs may reduce the cost 8 to 12%. Track work, if you didn't have anything in your house, no furniture, everything's moved out of the way, you might get a discount because it'd be a track work. And in highly repetitive jobs, you're outside your house, repainted every 7, 10, 15 years. That's repetitive work, so you have to look at it that way. So you understand if your contractor has to move your furniture around, it might affect your estimate. So we go over here, and we're going to look at exterior estimate, 14% of the total cost. We're going to take our handy dandy calculator. We're going to calculate 73 times point zero, point 0.014, or 0.14, 14%, 0.14. It's 1022 square foot. But that ain't right. That's too much money outside. It's repetitive work. So we give you a 12% discount. And we go times 1022 times 0.12 equals, we're at 122 a square foot on 1400 square foot home. We'll times that number by 1400. We're looking at a $1,700 estimate. And we're going to take our increase, our Denver, Colorado increase, cost of living, pay extra tolls on our roads out here. And we're going to go Denver, Colorado. This is a 7% increase. So we're going to go 1,700 times 0.07 equals 120. So 1,700 plus $120 is 1,800. 1,850. Oh my gosh, 1,400 square foot home. That's a good deal. Outside the house. Now that's labor costs, and if we didn't do such a heavy reduction on our reducing the cost, we might have been able to fit material costs in there. And any home that size, material cost should go over $500 unless you're using the ultra premium paint. You might end up spending an extra couple hundred. That's the very best God on earth could offer. Now, we'll go over to our interior finishes. Now, interior finishes, you have kind of trouble here. Is this 8% of total cost? Kind of looking at the numbers, it's a 1,400 square foot home, but there's going to be more square feet in the home than you think there is. It'll be 1,400 foot, but then you'll have an 8-foot wall by 10 foot. Say you have a 10 by 10 room. You go 8 by 10, 4 walls, and you have a ceiling. So you take your calculator, you go 80 square feet times 4 is 320 plus the 100 square foot ceiling. You have 420 square foot. You times this by 5. You have 5 rooms. It'd be 2,100 square foot on floor 1, 2,100 square foot on floor 2, 2,100 square foot on the second floor upstairs. Floor 2 being the basement. So, we'll say we could charge a little money here, but we're going to give the fairest deal that I could give. So I'm gonna say I'm just gonna include everything at 5,000 square feet. So I go in and I go with my estimate calculator here at $73, cheapest I could give you. Oh, 73 on this side. Tier 6 house. Over here. 73. Remember, our interior wall was 8% of the total cost. So interior wall and finish is 8%. 73 times 0.08 equals 584. And then we're going to take 12% track work because you moved the furniture to the center of the room and made my job easy. So we're going to take 12% discount. So times 0.12, 12% discount is 70 cents a square foot. Times 5, 70 cents times, let me clear this out, calculator, 70 cents times 5,000 square feet, I think it's 30, I did put the point for the 70 cents times 5,000. We're looking at $3,500. With the interior labor, it's not too bad. I mean, 1,400 square foot, that's a pretty decent deal. Now, we're going to do our Denver 7% increase toll road was times 0.07 is $250. So we're looking at $3,800. The whole entire interior. That's from floor to ceiling, all the walls. Everything's beautiful from the kitchen to the bathrooms to the living area to the bedrooms, downstairs and upstairs. And you think if you spend that $4,000 on the inside, save 8% of your total equity in your home, and then you go and you spend that couple $1,000s on the outside of the same house and save that 14% equity on your house and then save the 3% equity on your house with the fence, your house is going to sell at full value. No one's going to miss out on that. Everyone's going to be happy, happy, happy. It was nice talking to you about our 2016 National Building Costs Manual. I'm Johnathan Paul Roy. Take it easy, everyone. I'm ready to get to work.